Trunks was going into the time machine for the first time. His mom just made it. He was excited to go back in time to fix things to stop the androids, but first he needed to save Goku's life. As he looked at his mom, he began to talk to her, and she began to reminisce about old times. How she met Vegeta, how he was going to destroy the planet, but now he teamed up with him to stop Frieza, and all these stories. Trunks said, I wish I could have been there for them. Unknowingly, he would have been. As Trunks went back in time, something was wrong. The time machine began to malfunction, as then Trunks was sent to the Saiyan saga. As Nappa was planting Cyberman seeds, suddenly a time machine appeared in front of them. The Z-Fighters were on their guard as they thought it was another Saiyan, but there was only supposed to be two of them. As Trunks jumped out, Vegeta would say, "Who the hell are you?" Trunks would look shocked. He saw Nappa, he heard stories about him, but he's not supposed to be alive at this time. Wait a second, he looked around. But, where's Goku? Krillin would say, "Are you here to stop him?" Our Goku has been brought back to life, and he'll be here any second, just you see. And when he is, he'll make you pay. Trunks would look and say, "No, I don't want to fight him. I just want to tell him some news. Think of me as like a messenger." Nappa would say, "Messenger, huh? Interesting. Let's see how strong this messenger is." As suddenly, he would put in an extra Cyberman seed. As a Cyberman would grow, Nappa would point at Trunks and say, "Take care of him." As a Cyberman began to laugh, and charge right at Trunks, Trunks would simply cut through the Cyberman. He would move so fast, Vegeta and Nappa couldn't see it. As suddenly, the Cyberman fell down dead. Vegeta and Nappa were shocked. When they scanned his power level, it said 5. They had a feeling he was holding it back somehow, but this much? Nappa said, "Let me take care of him, Vegeta." "No, let's watch the show. And after that, you can take care of the messenger." Nappa would nod, as the Z-Fighters would fight the Cyberman just like in canon. But Krillin would beg this mysterious stranger to help. He could easily take down these Cybermen. Krillin knows it, and he can feel he's holding back, but he knows he has some great reserve of power. But Trunks would say, "No, I'm just here to watch. I'm a messenger." "A messenger? What's wrong with you? You're just gonna stand back and let some of us die?" Trunks would say, "I'm sorry, but I have to," as he would look down and sigh. He would look genuinely sad, but it didn't matter. As the Z-Fighters finished the Cybermen, Nappa would walk towards Trunks and say, "It's time I deal with you, messenger." Trunks would say, "I would rather you deal with the others." "What? You want me to fight them instead of you? You're such a coward." "No. I want you to deal with the others, because if you deal with me, you'll be defeated already, and you need to stay alive for a bit longer for this to make sense." Nappa would look at Trunks. As Trunks would say, "I hate to say this, but if you kill Chaozu, Tien," and you'd start to think, who else was supposed to die? Yaozu, Tien, and Piccolo. "Yeah, if you kill those guys, I'll fight you." As Nappa looked and said, "What the hell? You want me to kill them? What's wrong with you?" "I said just kill them." Nappa would start to try to fight Trunks, but Trunks dodged all of his attacks. Nappa was getting more and more pissed off. As Trunks said, I guess you're not worth fighting after all." Nappa would say, "Just punch me already, damn it! Just punch me!" "No, if I hit you just once, you'd be dead." Nappa would start to scream at Trunks as he blasted a ki blast straight towards his face, but he would appear behind him and knock him straight to the ground. Trunks didn't know what to do. He didn't have the heart just to kill Tien and Chaozu and all those guys. I mean, true, he never met them, but he's heard many stories of them, and he knew they were good people, and to kill good people just doesn't seem right. But at the same time, Piccolo needed to die for them to go to Namek, so he really didn't know what to do at this point. Vegeta would look at him and say, "You're weird as hell. You're stronger than Nappa, an elite warrior, and it doesn't look like you're part of the Frieza force. And it seems like, whatever you are, or whoever you are, you know who Kakarot is, and you know all of their names. Tell me, do you know who I am?" Trunks would smirk and say, "You're Vegeta, Prince of all Saiyans, and a great proud warrior." Vegeta would say, "That's correct. Alright, Nappa, I'll take him." Nappa said, "But Vegeta," I said, "I'll take him. You take the rest." He's mine. Vegeta would walk up towards Trunks, and Trunks would say, I recommend you do not do this. After all, it can only end in your defeat. However, I cannot defeat you because if I defeat you, Vegeta would say, shut your ass up and fight me! Ah! As Vegeta would charge at Trunks. He was a proud Saiyan warrior, and he was going to show whoever this was that he was the prince of all Saiyans and the strongest among Frieza's army. In his grade 8 form, he was unstoppable. And all he needs is this form right here, his base form, and he can easily take out Trunks. He doesn't know who he is or why he's here, but he's gonna stop him right here, right now. However, Trunks would simply dodge everything super easily and not really care about what Vegeta's doing. As Trunks would just say, listen, Vegeta said, damn it, damn it, damn it! You think you can defeat me, the Prince of all Saiyans? Trunks then had an idea. The idea was to give up. Well, not totally. He would just run into his time machine, go away, and go back in the future in a later date. The date he was actually supposed to be here, because this was annoying. So Trunks started to run towards his time machine, but as he ran towards it, Nappa saw this and blasted a key blast right towards it. Trunks flew towards it and easily deflected it, but Vegeta blew it up from behind. Trunks could have easily deflected it, but he wasn't paying attention. So, the time machine was destroyed. As Trunks looked around, he was stuck in the past. He would fall to the floor and say, no! As he looked, Nappa killed everyone he was supposed to kill, though. And suddenly, Goku would appear. As Trunks got up and said, thank you, Vegeta ran towards him and said, hey, what are you? Then, Trunks threw him a senzu bean. Here. You need your stamina, Vegeta, for this to be a fair fight. Vegeta would say, what? What is this thing? Just eat it. It'll heal you. Vegeta was not trusting at first, but eventually he ate it, and he got all his stamina back. As Trunks walks towards Nappa, Goku would simply ignore him. As Nappa wouldn't charge at Goku, he would charge at Trunks, being so pissed off by him. Trunks would decide to kill him, so he would blast him with a ki blast, straight in the face, launching him down. As Trunks thought he killed him, he actually just paralyzed Nappa, since he was holding back so much, to try to not let everyone know how strong he really was. Goku would look at Trunks and say, who are you? Trunks would simply give him some medicine, and he would start to whisper all of the information to Goku. Goku was completely and utterly shocked. He couldn't believe this. There was going to be an android years from now, and he died of a heart virus? Well, he would take the medicine. Of course, he didn't think he would need it, but Trunks still gave it to him, even though he wouldn't need it for quite a while. After that, Trunks decided to fly away. Vegeta would try to fly after him, but Goku would stop him, and the fight would start just like in canon. Nappa couldn't help, even if he transformed to a grade and healed, because he was passed out. As Trunks flew to Capsule Corp, he went to see his mother. His mother looked at Trunks and smirked. Well, there, you look handsome. Trunks almost threw up as he started to gag, as his mom flirted with him. As Bulma said, what are you doing? You're my mother! Bulma would say, what? I have a son? Trunks would tell her everything, and about how everything happened. Bulma would be shocked, but it would make sense. However, Trunks didn't mention one detail. Who was his father? As Bulma said, so, who is your father? Is it Yamcha? Trunks would say, no. Just, you'll know when it happens. Trunks would smirk. As then, he'll begin to walk away. And oh, can you build a time machine? I'm kind of stuck here. Bulma would say, yeah, where are you going? Well, I don't want to change time any more than I already have, so I'm going to run away in the woods. Live out on my own for a while. You know? Bulma would say, why don't you go to Namek? You've already changed time. Besides, isn't your whole mission changing time anyway? So why does it matter how much you change it? Bulma would say, as Trunks really didn't want to go to Namek because, you know, he didn't want to affect Vegeta in any way. Trunks would look back at Bulma and say, well, I don't know about that. Bulma would say, come on, please. It would go by really fast, and Goku could be stronger to fight the androids in the future. Trunks would acknowledge this, as he would reluctantly agree. A while after the battle, Goku was injured. He was in the hospital. Trunks thought about waiting for him and going on the spaceship with him. However, he could train Gohan. After all, Gohan was his teacher in the future, and He knew he had a lot of potential. He didn't know if he could teach him how to turn Super Saiyan at such a young age, but he knew he could definitely make him stronger, and if he's stronger now, he'll be better off when the androids come. Besides, even if Goku doesn't turn a Super Saiyan Namek, he can still turn him into one later. However, at the hospital, though, Goku would say, "What do we do about Nappa?" Trunks was shocked. He forgot about Nappa. He thought he killed them when he blasted them, but it turns out it wasn't hard enough. Trunks was walking over to him to finish the job, but Goku said, "Wait, don't. I know it's wrong that he's here, but doing this, it's not right." Trunks would look at Goku and sigh and say, "Fine." Nappa would look at him and say, "I am an elite warrior. You think I'll train with you? You think I'll help you?" Goku would say, "If Frieza gets the Dragon Ball, he's immortal. And if he's immortal, you're dead. Because he's going to try to wipe out all the Saiyans once Vegeta rebels." Nappa looked shocked, but he nodded his head and reluctantly decided to agree. As Trunks went off with Krillin and Gohan, when Goku and Nappa healed, they would go off and train together. It seemed like the timeline was changing a lot. As Krillin, Gohan, and Trunks all were going to Namek, Krillin said, "So who are you anyway?" He looked at him and said, "I don't want you to blow your mouth. I trust Goku, though." He would sigh as he looked. "Well, let's get to training." Krillin says, "Hold on, you want to train?" "Yep. And I'm more interested in Gohan. He has some crazy potential." Trunks would smile, remembering his old master, remembering how he turned Super Saiyan after he died. He wished he was a Super Saiyan too. Then maybe, just maybe, they could have done something. But that was all in the past. Trunks would then start to train Krillin and Gohan. As he trained them, Trunks would be hard on Gohan so he can get Zenkais. He wasn't brutal, not like breaking his limbs, but he would be a little hard on him. And as he did this, Gohan would then get up and heal. Their training wasn't as tense as Goku's training since he didn't have a time chamber, but they did enjoy themselves. However, since Bulma was flying, she would often get upset and yell at them. However, this really didn't affect Trunks since he was used to his mom yelling at him all the time. However, Krillin and Gohan were quite scared all the time, but they never understood how Trunks wasn't scared. I mean, sure, he was extremely powerful, but Bulma was just a woman not to be messed with. She had a strong will, strong attitude, and was often loud. However, this didn't affect Trunks. Trunks kept on training and keeping everyone strong, until eventually the spaceship would land on planet Namek. As Trunks got out with Gohan and Krillin, he didn't know what to expect. He's heard stories, but he doesn't know how the full story unfolds. His plan is just to sit by Krillin and simply let things happen. As Trunks was looking around, suddenly two Frieza soldiers would fly right at them. As they looked right at Gohan and Krillin, they both wanted to destroy him. As they started to fly straight towards him, suddenly Trunks would chop up with the sword, killing them, similarly how he did with the Frieza soldiers in our timeline. As they fell down to the floor, lifeless, Krillin would look at him and say, "So, what are we doing now?" Trunks would say, "Am I the leader?" "Yeah, well, I guess we'll just..." He tried to remember they met some Namekian named Dende, if he thinks. So, Trunks then decided to help them out. As Trunks would just watch and wait out, hiding, Krillin and Gohan say, "How strong are you? Think they could take on Frieza?" Trunks would look at him and say, "Probably not." He would lie. Gohan would get mad. He's trained with Trunks, and even though it was for a very brief second, he could feel all of his power. Trunks was one of the strongest people he's ever met, and he didn't even know about his Super Saiyan form. But Gohan still wanted answers. He wanted to know why he was holding back, why he didn't just jump in and help. And was he good or was he bad? He could feel that he was good, but he didn't act like it. This was driving Gohan insane. However, once he saw Dende was in danger, he would jump down and save him, just like in canon. As they all started to fly away, Dodoria started to follow them. However, Trunks would turn around and say, "I got this." Krillin and Gohan would say, "Are you sure?" Trunks would look back and simply smirk, "Yeah, leave this to me." Gohan and Krillin would both fly away, as then Dodoria would look at Trunks and begin to laugh. "Some nobody tried to take me on. Oh, please. You really think you have the balls to defeat me, the mighty Dodoria? But before you even finish talking, Trunks would already be behind him as Doria's head just fell off as he fell into the ocean no more. Doria slaughtered that easily. As Trunks said, "Alright, you can come out," Krillin and Gohan both came out. As they looked at him and said, "Why did you do that?" "What did you mean?" Gohan would say, "I told Krillin, I know you're stronger than Frieza. You could take him on right here, right now, but instead you take on one of his goons? Why?" Trunks looked and said, "I need Goku to be strong enough. He'll make sense later, trust me. If I defeat him, I'll hinder its growth." Krillin and Gohan say, "Who is Goku to you?" Trunks was about to tell him, but then he realized something. His father was on this planet. If he can get his potential unlocked too, maybe they can all become stronger. True, it's not like they would want to, considering who he is right now, but we're out of options. Well, not really, but Trunks wanted to be extra prepared, so he wanted to get Vegeta's potential unlocked, so he started to look for him. Trunks had an idea. He didn't know if it would work, though. He thought about using this with a Frieza soldier, but that was too risky. He was always holding back his power, so letting that up just for 1 second probably wouldn't alert him. So, his plan was to use Gohan as bait. As Gohan would begin to siphon up his energy and fly, making it look like he was all alone, suddenly Vegeta would fly up to attack him. "So, little runt, you came here alone." Trunks would appear behind him as he looked. Then Vegeta realized it was a trap. Gohan used his energy to lure Vegeta out. Vegeta would say, "So are you here to kill me?" Trunks would say, "No. I need your help. We're gonna get your potential unlocked." Vegeta would say, "What? What are you talking about? I'm gonna make you stronger. Now follow me." Vegeta would say, "You really think I'll trust you?" Trunks says, "If you don't follow me, I'll bring you by force." Vegeta would sigh, and even though he wanted to fight him, he knew he wasn't strong enough, so he would follow Trunks. As everything would unfold just like normal, except, well, Vegeta followed them, and he wanted to get his potential unlocked. Well, Trunks made him. As they all landed, Dende told him about Vegeta and everything, and Nail said, "You can all pass, except for you." He'd point towards Vegeta. "Someone as wicked as you would never get your potential unlocked." Trunks said, "Let him get it unlocked." As Nail was around ready to fight Trunks, Trunks got ready to fight. However, Dende said, "Please, just let him through. Trunks is so strong, he could easily stop him, even with his potential unlocked. Are you sure about that?" "Alright." Vegeta sighed at this. However, he believed that maybe if he got his potential unlocked, he can become much stronger, maybe even strong enough to defeat Trunks. As of course, he was the Prince of all Saiyans. He should have more potential than all of them. Once it gets unlocked, he can easily defeat every single one of them. If he was just training his whole life, he'd be way stronger than all of these guys, he thought. Once he gets his potential unlocked, it'll be game over. As they all went on, first was Gohan, then Krillin, then Trunks. As Trunks got his potential unlocked, he actually felt like he was way stronger. This could help him defeat the androids. He would smile, as Gero would smile too and say, "You have a good heart, Trunks. But I understand why you have to sit back at the sidelines. I really do, but if things don't play out like normal, please." Trunks would say, "Don't worry. If it looks like it's impossible for us to win, I'll jump in." Guru would nod, as then it would be Vegeta's turn. As Guru puts hands on Vegeta's head, suddenly he would unlock his potential, but he would see everything. He would see how strong Vegeta was, and he would see all the things that he has done. Guru would be saddened by this, but he would still unlock his potential, as Vegeta would be stronger than when Zarbon beat him up and he healed, but not by much. As they all started to fly down, Vegeta felt way stronger. However, Trunks would say, "You know what? We need to wait for Goku and the rest." But wait, Trunks would then remember Vegeta killed Zarbon. How is he gonna make this happen? He thought about just attacking them directly, but that was too risky. He had to make sure that the others would wait for Goku and Nappa to show up. As Frieza would summon the Ginyu Force for new scouters, they would have 2 Dragon Balls, and that's all they really needed. They would hide from the Frieza Force, and they would be able to find him. Until eventually, Nappa and Goku would show up on their little spaceship. As then, suddenly, the Frieza Force would fly straight towards them, scanning their power, as Frieza himself was there. He demanded that the Ginyu Force attack them. As Goku would take care of the Ginyu Force, Captain Ginyu was going to take Goku's body, but then Trunks would show up and cut off his head. As suddenly the battle began, Trunks would fly back and wait. He wanted to watch this play out. The Frieza force was easily taken care of, as then it was just Frieza versus all of them. Frieza got up and walked towards them, and looked at all of them. So, it seems you have all gotten a lot stronger. I'm gonna have to take this seriously. As Frieza was about to change form, suddenly Trunks walked up to him and said, "Go to your final form, not this third, fourth, or second one. Just go all out. If not, you'll die." Frieza would look at Trunks, being confused how he knows about this form. That arrogant bastard. Fine. If they wanted to die, Frieza will give them death. Suddenly, Frieza transformed into his final form, as they all started to fight him. Final form Frieza was winning, and even managed to brutally injure Vegeta, but he was healed by Dende just like in canon, but it still wasn't enough, as they all kept on fighting. Frieza would start to take them out, as suddenly, Vegeta was about to die when Nappa jumped in front of the way, taking the laser and falling to the ground, dying. As Krillin tried to throw a destructive disc at Frieza would blow him up. Suddenly, Goku and Vegeta would start to yell as the planet shook and they both turned into Super Saiyans. Vegeta would launch a Gallic gun, Goku would Kamehameha as they hit Frieza, destroying him. This shocked Trunks, he couldn't believe it. 2 legendary Super Saiyans, as then he smirked. With 3 Super Saiyans, the androids will be a piece of cake. However, Goku wouldn't go to Yardrat in this timeline, so he'd never learn instant transmission. Besides that, everyone is quite stronger in this timeline, especially Vegeta. Vegeta and Kakarot both trained with each other. Kakarot was of course stronger since he was stronger before he became Super Saiyan, but Vegeta was quickly closing the gap. As they trained voraciously, they became stronger and even somewhat close. As the spaceship landed, Trunks would tell him all about the androids, but he'd leave out the fact that, he's the son of Vegeta. Only Goku knows that. And Piccolo, since Piccolo is, cool. And he'd be wished back. So, Trunks would walk off, but then he would realize something. Piccolo never fused with Nail. That could change some things. He needed to make sure Piccolo was strong. Even if he wasn't a Super Saiyan, he was still a warrior they could use. He would go to Piccolo and say, "Hey, could you wish to fuse with Nail?" "Why would I wish for that? Just trust me. I may have told him to let you do it. It's for the good of the timeline." Piccolo would sigh to get the Dragon Balls and wish to fuse with Nail. So, don't worry. Piccolo would still be strong in this scenario. As Trunks would go around talking to everyone, eventually the time machine would be fixed by Bulma. As Trunks would go over to Bulma, he would smile, ready to go back to his own time to see what happened with the changes. Trunks would go to the future, and he would end up going to the wrong... Nah, just kidding. He went to the right timeline this time. As he would look around, he would take a big sigh of relief, thankful that he went to the right time. As he got out of the machine, he would start to look around. As well, it seemed everything was still destroyed, so 2 things happened. 1, they either failed to take the androids out, or 2, if he changes the past, it doesn't change the future. He did everything for nothing. Both outcomes are, well, not favorable. He would go to Bulma and tell her everything and say, "Did any of that happen?" Bulma would look and say, "No, I don't remember any of it." Trunks would sigh and say, "So it didn't happen. If I go back and change the past, nothing happens here." "We did all this for nothing, Mom," he would say as he looked down and sighed. Trunks felt defeated. He felt like nothing he did could ever work. But then Bulma looked at him and said, "Hey, don't feel that way. We can do this. You have to believe in yourself." Trunks would nod and say, "Yeah, you're right. We can do this." Trunks would then smile, as he felt like he could do this. He could save the day. Even if you save one timeline, I feel comfortable knowing that androids don't live in it. Trunks would say, "Yeah. And once we do, I can bring back Goku and Vegeta, and we could take out these androids here." He would smirk as Bulma would smirk too. Meanwhile, a few years would pass, just like in canon, as everything would happen normally until future Trunks would arrive. But as he arrived, he was horrified not to find 1 android, but 4. As Trunks flew down, he saw Dr. Gero, Android 17, 18, and a weird one he didn't even recognize. It was white and fat. Trunks would say, What are you?" Dr. Gero would look and say, when you came back too far, Trunks, I saw you and I heard you talk about 17 and 18, and I realized that they kill me. So I decided to research how to manipulate someone's brain, how to mind control them. I researched key techniques, technology, Buddhist tricks, Christian ideology, and all kinds of sources from different religions, and different gods and deities, and even pagan magic, and eventually I found it. A way to control someone's mind. They are completely loyal to me. Now it's 1718. Under my control, I shall rule this world. At first, I just wanted to get revenge on Goku, but once I realized he died to a virus, not even me, it made me think. And I realized something. Why not take over the world and turn it into a utopia? Make a new empire throughout the universe. But before I do that, I must get rid of all of you to revenge the Red Ribbon Army! Trunks would say, "You're insane!" as he charged at him, but suddenly a big redhead would appear in front of him and kick Trunks far away. He would say, "Relax. I do not want to kill you. I just want to kill Goku. However, if you get in my way, I will." Trunks would say, "Shut up, you machines! You evil bastards!" He would say as he transformed to a Super Saiyan and flew in. Goku was fighting, but suddenly he would fall down and scream in pain because of the heart virus. As Trunks flew in his Super Saiyan form, Android 16 would simply punch Trunks and him flying away, as Dr. Gero laughed even more. But to be honest with you, even though avenging the Red Ribbon Army is a great idea, that's not why I'm doing this. You see, you all did something to me, something that no parent should suffer. Goku, you killed my son. When you blew up all those bases without caring who you killed my dear boy. I was ready to give up on all of this, to start a new life, but you drove me back into it. It's your fault this happened. It's your fault. Your friends will die. Goku looked up, and as he was coughing up blood because of the heart virus, he would then say, "Sorry." Dr. Gero didn't expect this, but he just said, "Kill them now." Android 17 was going to do it, but then 16 flew in and stopped 17. This made Trunks realize something. 16 wasn't fully under Dr. Gero's control. He just wanted to kill Goku. Maybe he can use that to his advantage. 16 said, "It's my kill." 17 is about to fight him, but then Dr. Gero said, "Stop, 17. Let him kill him." He started to sweat, as then Trunks said, "Hey, why are you doing this, 16? Think about it. If you kill him now, the virus did most of the work. You're just finishing off what the virus started. Wouldn't it be better just to kill him when he's at his strength, when he's at his strongest?" 16 would look at Trunks and say, as he would start to think about it. Dr. Gero began to shake. If 16 fought against them, they might stand a chance. He would be on guard, as he would order 17 and 18 to surround 16. But this left him wide open, as Trunks charged right towards Dr. Gero and picked him up by the neck and began to choke him. Ha! You left yourself wide open. As Android Trunks would start to choke Dr. Gero. "It's over, Gero." As Android 19 would charge in, suddenly Vegeta would fly and kick him out of the way, but suddenly 17 and 18 and 16 didn't even care Dr. Gero was getting choked. Trunks was confused. He thought 17 and 18 were mindless puppets now, but shouldn't they care if their masters? Suddenly, Dr. Gero would grab Trunks' neck and start to take his energy. As he started to choke himself, Dr. Gero laughed. "I wanted you to come in after me, Trunks. I wanted to be able to defend myself without wasting one of the androids to protect me. I'll admit it, I'm the weakest among them. I focused on them so much, it was hard to give me any power. However, once I have all of your power, I'll have enough to defend myself, and since they're loyal, that's all that matters. I'll be honest, I was scared of my own creations after I heard what happened to me in your timeline. I put the pieces together and realized I must have died. However, it doesn't matter, 'cause you're gonna die, Trunks. All you did was ensure my victory by going back in time." As he started to suck away Trunks' energy, Vegeta would charge at him, but 17 and 18 would go after him. 18 would kick him, breaking his arm, but Vegeta didn't care. He had to save his son. He used the Ki Blast to launch him forward, and headbutt Dr. Gero, launched him out of the way. Dr. Gero said, damn it, Vegeta! You'll pay for this!" Trunks was ready to fight, but Vegeta said, "Get out of here." "What? I said get out of here, boy! I can handle it! I am the Prince of all Saiyans, trust me!" Vegeta would fly in, but even with his ego, he knew he couldn't handle it. He was trying to save his son. Suddenly, Kami would fly down. As Dr. Gero would look, "You old bastard, what do you want? You're old and useless. Even I could defeat you just by blinking." Kami would look at Piccolo and say, "It's time." Piccolo and Kami would then fuse as the earth shook. But then Dr. Gero smirked. "I doubt you're powerful enough to defeat us. 17, take care of him." Piccolo and 17 would start to battle, as Vegeta and Trunks would turn Super Saiyan and fight on. Vegeta kept demanding that Trunks leave, as Goku coughed up blood and laid on the floor dying. Piccolo, Vegeta, and Trunks were our only hope. However, Vegeta couldn't fight on forever. 18 was against him. And well, even though Vegeta put up one hell of a fight, 18 would crush him, as her hand went straight through his stomach and ripped out his heart. Trunks watched his dad die as he fell to the floor. Dr. Gero would walk up to him. "How does it feel, boy, to know it's your fault this happened? Don't worry. This timeline won't be destroyed like yours. I'll build a functioning society. The Red Ribbon Army will rise again, and we will control everything. And I will be the king, emperor of Red Ribbon." As Trunks looked at him and said, "No, no you won't. My teacher, my dad again, over and over again. People die to you. I won't let this stand." As tears went through his eyes, he began to yell and scream as shocks of electricity went through his head, as suddenly he transformed into a Super Saiyan 2. As Trunks transformed to a Super Saiyan 2, all of the androids began to attack him, but he sent a wave of energy that destroyed them all. Except for Dr. Gero, who fell to the floor and began to back up. No, please don't do this." Trunks said, "It's too late for that," as he cut Dr. Gero in half. Dr. Gero fell down, as Trunks would then leave with the rest of them. He would cry having his father die. But it seemed like he was defeated until he started to crawl. Even cut in half, he was able to survive. If he can just get back to his lab, he can rebuild his body, and he can start again with new androids. It'll take years, but he's patient, and he'll play the long game. But then, Nappa would show up. I was waiting, pretending not to be here, to prepare a time to strike. I can't believe you forgot about me. I guess you're not that smart after all, Doctor. He looked up and said, "I thought you just ran away because how strong I was." Huh. It seems like you aren't a coward after all. Nappa would then pick him up and rip off his head. As Dr. Gero would look at him, without a body, he would still be able to talk. He would still be alive. Nappa then had an idea. "I'll leave you here. You'll be ahead forever. That'll be your punishment for causing so much destruction in 2 timelines." He left Dr. Gero there, just ahead in the grass. Dr. Gero felt like he was defeated. It was all over, but then he saw someone walk up to him, some weird bug man. But then he remembered that was going to be one of his projects. He said this, "Don't worry, we'll make a great team." Super Saiyan 2. He realized something. He wanted to live in this timeline, a timeline that wasn't destroyed, a timeline that wasn't ruined. However, he had to go back and take care of something before he could. So Trunks went back to the future. As Trunks went back to the future, he would then look around in his time, as he would take a deep breath and then smile. Soon he'll be able to do it. He was going to be able to avenge Gohan. He finally was strong enough. He finally had the strength to get rid of him. He finally had the strength to destroy the androids. As he began to walk around that destroyed city that he knew so long ago, he would see everything. And he would remember looking at this city back in the past. But it looked so destroyed. It looked so ruined. It was different. He remembered going back in the past. He saw cities that weren't destroyed, cities that weren't in ruin. It gave him hope. It gave him some sense of peace. As Trunks smiled, suddenly 17 and 18 would land behind him. "Ah, Trunks, you weren't hiding your power level. Our scanners could sense it." Trunks would simply turn around and say, "It's over. I will destroy you once and for all." 17 and 18 both charged at Trunks, laughing at him, but then he simply turned yellow as he turned into a Super Saiyan. They weren't surprised, but suddenly something happened. Shocks of electricity went through his hair and throughout his body as he was a Super Saiyan 2. As 17 and 18 said, What are you doing?" Trunks said, "Finishing you off. I have reached a level beyond Super Saiyan, and it's thanks to my dad, to Gohan, to Goku, and to all the friends you've killed." 17 would look right at Trunks and yell at him, "You really think this new hairdo, this new style can defeat us? Besides, all you got is electricity going through your hair. That's not even that scary, man." You think a little trick like that will scare me? But then Trunks would move so fast he couldn't even see him, as half of 17's body fell to the floor. He coughed out oil and blood as Trunks blew him up. 18 would shake in fear and anger and say, Why would you do this?" "What do you mean, why?" "I killed your brother because you killed my mentor and killed everyone dear to me." 18 would say, "I'm sorry. Listen, I know I messed up," but Trunks would simply walk towards her. "Shut up. You have not a single good bone in your entire body. If you have bones left, that
But
is."
who am I kidding? Your bones are probably metal. You have no humanity left, no empathy, no sympathy. All you are is a machine made to kill. As future Trunks would simply blow her into smithereens, destroying her right here, right now. As he simply smirked, then he would go back to the time machine. But not before going to see his mom and telling her everything. She was so happy. She would be overjoyed. And even though Trunks wanted to go back to the present timeline and not stay in the future, Bulma understood because she loved Trunks. And she wanted what was best for him. And obviously staying in this timeline wasn't too great. So she said, "Can you visit me every once in a while?" Trunks would say, "Of course, Mom." As Trunks would then go back to the past. As Trunks smiled, he would walk around, happy with everything that happened, and happy to spend his time there. However, there was a small, tiny problem. And the problem was, when he went to Capsule Corp, he saw someone that looked just like him, but a kid, the time machine. It sent him too far into the future. The time machine was always buggy going into the past, and now it messed up the date again. As little Trunks looked up and said, Future Trunks would simply get down to the ground and say, "I'm you, from the future. I haven't been here in a while. Well, for you guys anyway. For me, it was just a few days. Seems like that machine's super buggy. Oh well. At least I know you're all doing well," Trunks would say as he got up. Kid Trunks would say, "Where are you going?" "To see Dad, of course." Vegeta was training with Nappa, as Nappa was getting old. His goatee turned gray, and it seemed like he wasn't long for this world. But he still had a few good years left in him. As Vegeta said, "You know, Nappa, there's this thing called a World Martial Arts Tournament. We should go there sometime. Test out our strength." Nappa would say, "I like that." Trunks would then say, "I also like that." Nappa would then turn around, shocked. Trunks, what are you doing here?" Trunks would then laugh and say, "Simple. I'm here to fight in a tournament. And, I kind of wanted to stay here, but my time machine messed up again." They would both laugh. That time machine never works," Vegeta would say, and skulk. Nappa would just say, "I'm glad it doesn't work. Otherwise, I'd be dead." Vegeta would then look at him and kind of feel bad that he killed him in another timeline, but he didn't do that here, so it doesn't really matter. He would agree. As then they would fly over to Goku's place. As Goku was hanging out with Goten, Trunks, Nappa, and Vegeta would all lay down and tell him about the tournament. Goku was excited as he agreed. Everyone agreed and got ready to fight. They were excited to fight. Trunks looked and said, "I guess Piccolo's the strongest now, huh?" Goku would say, "That was a long time ago, and we've all gotten a lot stronger. We've unlocked that 2 form that you use." "Really? You can use Super Saiyan 2 also?" Goku would nod and say, "Yeah." Trunks would say, "That's great." Trunks was excited to fight. He'd probably even lose if they used Super Saiyan, since they had more practice with 2, since, he literally just spent a couple days in the future before coming back here. As they were all getting ready to go, though, We cut to Cell, Imperfect Cell. He's been absorbing people like a serial killer, not going out and destroying entire cities. That'll be too noticeable. He's been helping Dr. Gero make a serum from everyone's DNA. This serum will make him perfect. But as he was making it though, Dr. Gero's cameras caught something. Some alien going to this planet. Imperfect Cell was waiting for a long time to become, well, perfect. But now that there's aliens, that could be someone for him to fight. True, he wanted to show his perfection off on the others and defeat them. However, these aliens could make a worthy test subject for his new powers. Dr. Gero's body was rebuilt. Cell helped him rebuild it by stealing junkyard parts and things like that. As he ingested the serum, suddenly Cell would turn into his perfect form as he walked around. He looked at Dr. Gero and said, "You know, I thought about destroying you, but nah, I'm gonna leave you here. And I'll get revenge for you, don't worry. But don't try to take over the world or stop me, because I just want to have a good time." Dr. Gero would say, "Yeah, I've learned my lesson." Cell didn't know if he was serious or not, but he didn't care. If he made anything, he could easily destroy it. After all, he was Perfect Cell. Cell would get out and begin to fly and look across the world. He would, well, hide his power level so he could see things without being caught. And he was curious about these aliens. Honestly, he really wanted to fight them more than anything. As Cell was flying around and looking around, he would eventually come across the tournament. As he would see Spothowitz and Yamu stealing power from Nappa. As they flew after him, he would start to fly with them, and they would look and say, "Who the hell are you?" Cell would explain everything, but say, "Don't worry, I'm not here to fight you. I'm not like Dr. Gero. I just want to have fun." They didn't really trust Cell, but they didn't want to make more enemies since they were going to fight anyway. So they all flew down, and things happened like in canon, but this time Cell and Nappa were with them. As they all flew inside, the mighty Pui Pui would show up. Pui Pui was ready to defeat them all, to destroy them, to prove how strong he was as he charged. But Cell simply hit him with a Kamehameha, destroying him, as then Cell began to flex. He was impressed with himself, impressed with the power that he showed off. As then they started to go down further, Yakon would appear, but then Trunks would show Yakon the power that he had. As Trunks would turn Super Saiyan 2 and begin to charge Yakon with more and more and more energy, as he grew more and more and more until he blew up. They went down more and more and more. As Babidi got nervous, Deborah said, "Don't worry, I will deal with them." As then Deborah flew up. They all got ready to fight. Cell said, "Let me show you how it's done." But Nappa said, "No, you already had your turn. It's my turn."
Or simply laughed. "I am the mighty Demon King, and you think a pathetic person like you could stand a chance against me?" Nappa says, "No, I don't think, I know." As Nappa and Deborah began to fight, Nappa turned into a Super Saiyan 2, but it was pretty close because Nappa was pretty old, and he was losing his touch, but at the same time, he was still a warrior. And Deborah was able to keep up. As they all watched, suddenly something would happen. Cell would feel anger through his head, evil emotions coursing through him. As he began to yell and screamed, he grabbed his face, as suddenly an M would appear on his forehead, and he became Super Perfect Cell. "Now I feel the power." Cell walked towards them, as Deborah smirked and said, "Now we have another follower, another person to help us." But suddenly, Cell would just blow Deborah up. "Or imbeciles. I realized something. I realized if Babidi takes control of something, they get a power increase. So I let him take control of me, just to take it back for myself. Now that I have all this power, I can have way more fun training with you guys, honestly. I had fun fighting you and watching you fight, so I think I'll let you guys hang out with me." They all looked and said, "What? Yeah, I like to hang out with you guys more. Oh, by the way, you could take care of Babidi or whatever. I'm kind of bored. See you a while after training." Cell would say, flying off. As they went down to Babidi, Babidi would say, "Please, please don't." But Gero would grab him by the neck and say, "Shut up, fool." As then he blew him up and laughed. Babidi was dead. And there was no Majin Buu. But there was a Cell. And as this was going on, we cut to Dr. Gero. Dr. Gero, with his body back, was angry. And he had a plan. His plan was to get the Majin Buu egg and bring him back. But under his control.
Years have passed. Trunks and everyone else has unlocked Super Saiyan 3. And Cell, well, Cell is actually quite popular. At first, everyone was quite scared of him, or at the very least, curious about him. But now they know who Cell is. And now, they got along quite fine with him. Cell just wanted to be perfect. After that, he liked fighting with his friends, and he liked hanging around them. Cell honestly was having a good time, and he couldn't lie. It was a blast. However, everything would change as we cut to Beerus. As Beerus slept, he started to dream, and what he dreamed of was a Super Saiyan God. This being was unlike any other. He had a sword, but he also had such great power. His hair was pure red, and he emanated strength and power. Beerus wanted him. He wanted to fight him more than anything. Beerus needed to fight him. It made him feel alive. It made him feel like himself again. It's been so long since he fought anyone worthy of his attention. Suddenly, though, Beerus would wake up and be sad that it was a dream. He would look around and try to think more about a Super Saiyan God, but he couldn't think of it. Until finally it popped into his head. Whis thought he was crazy, however.
Listen, Whis, I am not crazy. I had a premonition. Is this the same premonition about you being a rock star? Whis would say. Beerus would then get angry and say, shut up, this is different. Different, huh? I do not see any difference, my lord, but if you really want me to look, then I will. Yes, tell me about the Saiyans. We should look and say, that's strange. There's a Saiyan that I don't recognize. What do you mean, don't recognize? Well, I can look through planet's history and things like that. I've seen that Goku went off to this planet, and Vegeta joined him, but I don't know where this guy came from. That's odd. Beerus would say, huh, oh well. Besides, it looks like Frieza didn't do a good enough job. Yeah, also Vegeta killed him. Vegeta and Goku. What? Those two Saiyans killed Frieza? That's impressive. I think I need to see him. Whis would smile and say, sounds good to me, my lord. Let me show you the way. As then Beerus and Whis would head off to Earth. As then we cut back to Earth. Bulma was throwing a party and everyone was there. Nappa was even there, although he was in a wheelchair. He was quite sick and his health wasn't doing quite well. Old age and diseases and stuff have got to him. Nappa wasn't going to be here for much longer. It was obvious. However, they were still there to greet him, and they knew when he died, he would go up to King Kai, and Goku could visit him anytime he wanted, so no one was really sad. However, as all this was going on, suddenly, King Kai would talk to Trunks. Trunks, I gotta tell you something. Beerus is coming. Beerus, who's that? He's a god of destruction. Anything that gets in his way, he destroys. He is immensely powerful. No one, and I mean no one, could stop him. And would look and say, oh, okay, but why are you telling me this? King Kai would sigh, listen, I didn't say anything because you saved them, but time travel is a big no-no. If they know you're from the future, you're done. He will destroy you. Trunks began to shake in fear, realizing what this meant. Make up some story about how you escaped, or something. Or maybe how you were born, or maybe you're Nappa's kid, I don't know. Just make something up. Trunks would walk to Nappa and say, can I be your son? Nappa would say, what? And he would tell him the situation. Nappa heard of Beerus and he would agree. Goku and Vegeta would also agree, as eventually Beerus and Whis would arrive. As Beerus and Whis would both look around, Beerus would look at Trunks and walk up to him. Trunks would get nervous. So, who are you? Trunks would say, well, I'm Trunks, and I'm Nappa's son. You had me a while ago. Whis would say, oh, that would explain how I didn't hear of him. And Nappa is quite old, so I guess he could have had it off-world. You would have been born quite a bit ago, though. Nappa must have had you. Oh well. I assume it's possible. That makes sense. Beerus would say, not really caring, but then he would see Kid Trunks. Who's that? Trunks would say, that's my son. He would look over, and Trunks would look up and say, what are you? As then he would cover his mouth and say, my son just wanted to tell you a joke, right? He would take his hand off, as he would look back at Vegeta, and Vegeta would look at him with a serious look, as Trunks would pretend to be his kid.
Beerus would just laugh. You seem quite young. I guess young people all around the world like to have fun, am I right? Beerus would say, laughing. As Trunks would say, I guess you are. As they would share an awkward laugh. As then Beerus would start to eat and enjoy the party. However, Goku would walk up to him and say, can we spar? Vegeta would say, are you serious, Kakarot? You want to spar with the god of destruction himself? Goku would say, yeah, why not? Vegeta and everyone else were about to yell at him, but then suddenly someone flew down. It was Cell, as he flew down to the ship. Sorry I was late to the party. I was out having a little bit of fun, Cell would say, laughing. Cell's version of fun was, well, no one really knows what it was. Was it training? Was it fighting? He would just say he always had fun before he landed. And anytime someone asked, he would simply say, you know. Beerus would stand up and say, oh, what are you? I'm a bio-android made from all their DNA. Cool, huh? Beerus would say, honestly, that does sound pretty cool. You'd sound fun in the fight. Alright, I think we can do a spar. Hit me with everything you had. As suddenly, Goku would turn Super Saiyan 3. Trunks would turn Super Saiyan 3. Vegeta would turn Super Saiyan 2 since he didn't like Super Saiyan 3. And Cell, he would charge up into his super perfect form, which matched and went even beyond Super Saiyan 3. As Beerus would look at them all, he would smirk and say, interesting. So, how will we start this? Goku would say, I could turn it down a bit if you want. No, it's fine, you could fight me as you are. Suddenly, they would all charge at Beerus, but he would move so fast, they couldn't even see him. As then, Cell and the others would look for Beerus, but it's like he vanished. Then he would appear in front of Goku and hit him in the neck, knocking him out. I didn't like that cocky attitude of yours. Trunks would charge with a sword and try to swing at him. A sword? Huh. Is it something special about it? Beerus would simply flick Trunks away and pick it up. Nope, seems like a normal sword. What an odd way to fight. Huh. But then he would remember the Super Saiyan God had a sword. This would pique his interest. As he looked at Trunks, you're not holding back, are you? Trunks would say, no, Lord, why would I? Just forget it. As then he would knock him to the floor. Cell and Vegeta would hit him with a Kamehameha and a Big Bang attack, but this would do nothing, as Beerus would simply knock him away. Beerus would say, I'm getting bored. Beerus would enjoy the party for a couple more hours, have some food, and relax. Until future Trunks had an idea, as he would walk up to Beerus and say, Sir, I figured it out. We can use the Dragon Balls to wish to know about the Super Saiyan God. They would all nod, as things would go similarly as in canon until they did the ritual. Cell was involved, and Nappa in a wheelchair, so they didn't really need to, figure out that Pan was pregnant, like in our timeline. However, as they all did the ritual, finally Trunks got all of his energy. As he felt it, he was a Super Saiyan God. As he looked at Beerus, Beerus would say, so you were the one in the dream after all. In the dream I had, he had a sword. That's why I was so interested in it. I thought maybe it would unlock your potential, but it was just a sword. Trunks would pick up the sword and say, oh, this is not just ordinary sword. It's the sword that will cave in your skull. Beerus would say, I like you, Trunks, but keep threatening me like that, and this won't be a friendly bout. As suddenly they flew up into the sky and began to battle each other. Trunks would then push himself and fight Beerus with everything he had. However, Beerus wasn't really giving it his all, obviously. He was just letting him ease into his power, and as Trunks got stronger and stronger, Beerus slowly put more and more of his power into it, as they began to talk as they fought, since this is Dragon Ball, that does happen a lot. Trunks would look at Beerus and say, so, is this the fight you wanted? Beerus would say, yeah. You're quite interesting. You have a look like you've seen everything be destroyed in front of you, but you've had a happy life. Beerus would start to think about it, as Trunks began to shake in fear. Did he figure it out? No, it's impossible. Beerus would look directly at him. Nappa must have left you. It makes sense. He must have had you when he was young, and just kind of left. I mean, he looks old now, but I could tell you've been through a lot. He must have abandoned you, didn't he? Trunks would say, yeah, that sucks. My father abandoned me. Not a lot of people know that. Keep that between us, though, otherwise I'll erase you. I'm not kidding. Trunks would say, alright, now let's continue this fight. The fight would continue, and Beerus and Trunks would have an amazing time. Just like in the movie, except imagine Goku with a sword, and more serious. That's more like what's going on here. As then, Trunks was, well, defeated by Beerus, but Beerus promised to spare the Earth, and then he left, as they all sighed in relief. Dr. Gero seemed like a distant memory. As Dr. Gero came and tried to take over the world, he was mostly forgotten about. Nappa left him as a head. Little did they know, except for Cell, that Dr. Gero was still alive. Cell thought he took care of Gero, and if he ever made something, he would be strong enough to destroy it now. But that cockiness attitude would be his downfall. As we cut to Dr. Gero, Dr. Gero brought the Boo egg, and then he managed to hatch it by sending energy into it. He managed to regulate key energy and send it straight into the egg as Majin Buu came out, but then he was horrified to realize something. Dr. Gero couldn't believe it. Fat Buu wasn't as strong as everyone else. It seems like Super Saiyan 3 blows him out of the water. Dr. Gero spent all this time, all these years, gathering this artificial energy for nothing. Fat Buu said, you brought back Buu! What is Boo's orders? Boo's orders. Dr. Gero began to think, but then he smirked. You know what, Boo? I have an idea. Perhaps I can get some of this God Key. My drones did pick up on it. It'll take a few months, but until then, we could play games and have fun. Boo would say, yay! Dr. Gero would just play with Boo and try to keep Boo on his good side. He wanted to get God Key and give it to Boo so he can, destroy all of his enemies. And he was done trying to rule the world. Dr. Gero just wanted revenge. And afterwards, he could build an empire with Majin Buu, or just destroy everything. He really didn't know what he wanted anymore. So many years of just being ahead, waiting to be rebuilt, just to help some creature that wasn't even grateful. It really wasn't on Dr. Gero's good side. Every time he tried something, it just backfired. But this is his one last try, his one last hurrah. Dr. Gero was a stubborn man and would always try to get revenge. As this was his plan, he kept working on Buu. As months would pass, eventually he'd be able to give him God Key. It was finally time to get his revenge. It was finally time to show the world what Dr. Gero can do. To show the world that Dr. Gero will be the one coming on top. Once and for all. As all this was going on, we cut to Gohan and Piccolo. You see, Trunks, Vegeta, and Kakarot were off-world training on Beerus' planet, and Nappa sadly passed away. As Piccolo and Gohan were both training, Piccolo would look down at Gohan and say, hey, be serious. Gohan would say, listen, Piccolo, I'm just here to spend time with you. I mean, I get you like to train and all, but it's not like I'll ever be useful. Piccolo says, you have great potential in you, Gohan. You don't understand how useful you can become. Gohan would just sigh and say, I guess if you say so, but I really don't see a use, but alright. Piccolo and Gohan would continue training, as they suddenly feel a massive energy come through. As it was Dr. Gero, he gave himself quite a few upgrades. He was of the level of base Super Saiyan God, but nowhere near Blue, and Majin Buu was even stronger than Super Saiyan Blue. They were both pretty powerful. Dr. Gero was making sure to make himself more powerful. He was examining all of his opponent's powers so he could give himself some of their DNA. After all, Dr. Gero's been relying on other people for far too long. It's time he took actions into his own hands. As Dr. Gero and Buu came around, started to destroy things, Dr. Gero would try to destroy cities, destroy families, destroy whatever he can to lure out Goku and Vegeta. But he couldn't do it, because, well, they were off-world. Piccolo and Gohan would feel this energy, as Gohan would say, what do we do? There's no way we can contact them. Piccolo would look at Gohan and say, I have an idea. We can use the Dragon Balls to unlock my potential, and yours, just like the Grand Elder did. Gohan would nod, as they would get the Dragon Radar and begin to summon the Dragon Balls. Meanwhile, Dr. Gero and Majin Buu would set cities to ash, obliterating everything in their path. However, Dr. Gero made a mistake. He underestimated Piccolo and Gohan. Since he wasn't looking for him, he didn't really care. He was just focusing on causing as much havoc as possible to try to lead Goku and Vegeta out for his revenge. And Trunks, of course, that meddling punk that brought across all of this. At first, he was grateful Trunks showed up. After all, that's the only reason he's alive. But living his life as a head for so long, honestly, It might have been better off to just have perished the way he did in his timeline. As they caused havoc, eventually Gohan and Piccolo would get all the Dragon Balls and summon the mighty Shenron, as they would wish for their potentials to be unlocked. As suddenly Piccolo felt his power surge through him, so did Gohan. However, this massive power surge made sure Dr. Gero knew where they were. Dr. Gero couldn't believe it. Gohan, Piccolo, this strong? Well, they were still no match for him. Surely, he was the great Dr. Gero, and even though he lost time and time again, this was finally time for his revenge. And even if he started to lose, he had a backup plan. As Dr. Gero and Majin Buu both flew down, Piccolo and Gohan both got ready to fight. Piccolo was yellow, and Gohan had red eyes. His eyes weren't purely white yet. They were both trying to get to that new next form, Beast and Orange. However, they're a little while away. So, Dr. Gero would fight Piccolo, and Gohan would fight Majin Buu. As Gohan fought Buu, he would start to enjoy himself a bit. For a second, because he saw something in Buu. He saw childlike innocence. Buu didn't want to do this. He was just playing like it was a game. Gohan would try to talk Buu out of it, but Dr. Gero would say, "If you don't do as I say, I won't give you that special candy, the kind that tastes better than the stuff you turn stuff into." Majin Buu said, "Candy's better than talk." As he kept on fighting Gohan, Gohan would get mad as Majin Buu started to get the upper hand. Meanwhile, Piccolo was actually beating Dr. Gero. Dr. Gero didn't like this. It was getting pushed further and further back. He looked up and said, "It's time I do my last trick." As the battle continued, Dr. Gero was furious. It seemed like nothing he did ever worked. He could have just wished to become strong with the Dragon Balls. He did all this stuff for nothing. No matter how hard he worked on his science, somehow Ki always destroyed it, even if he used Ki in it. Even his bio-android didn't work. He was off training with them. It seemed like Dr. Gero had to get rid of them once and for all. Dr. Gero had a plan. You see, he managed to have his testosterone level rise, making his Ki rise. He can put this into overdrive, turning him into a beast of a man, rising his power not by double, not by triple, not by quadruple, but hundreds of times. However, this has a downside. He'll only live for 5 days. This will use up all of his body's energy in that amount of time. As suddenly Dr. Gero began to yell, his arms began to get buff, as all of his muscles began to grow, as he used all of his new power to hit Piccolo, sending him flying against the ground. As he flew against the ground, his arm came clean off. He got up and regrew it. As he began to scream, he felt himself tapping into his new power, as suddenly Piccolo would turn orange. This would definitely make things more even, but even with it, Dr. Gero had a slight power edge. It wasn't much, but slight. Dr. Gero couldn't believe this. Every single time he tried something, it always failed. However, this time, Dr. Gero had to succeed. Even with this orange power-up, even with these weird abilities, Dr. Gero will wipe them out. He will destroy everything that stood in his way, and everything who ever wronged him. He will get rid of all of it, because he only has 5 days to do so. As Majin Buu was about to kill Gohan, suddenly he would get up and begin to scream, as he felt so powerless, as he felt so weak. Suddenly his hair would turn white as he went beast, and then he hit Majin Buu with a Kamehameha, destroying him. As Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo walked up on Dr. Gero, he walked away scared, but then he began to yell, "Screw you all! I will destroy it! I will destroy everything!" As Dr. Gero started to charge a Ki Blast, he was going to push it straight into the planet, destroying it, wiping everything off the face of the earth. Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, they'll lose everything they cared about. True, they won't be dead, but they might as well have died. And besides, he'll take them out with him. As he was about to hit the ground, suddenly Gohan would fly so fast he couldn't even see him. As then, he would rip off Dr. Gero's head. As Dr. Gero would scream words at the top of his lungs, or I should say, non-existent lungs. As suddenly, Gohan would simply throw his head down to the ground and step on it, crushing it. Piccolo would say, "Do you see why you need to train now?" as he turned back to his base form. Gohan would also turn back to his base form and say, "Yeah, you're right," as if they would both lay down from exhaustion.
They never felt like this before. They exerted so much energy, but they now knew they needed to train. They also knew that now they were the strongest. Weeks would have passed, and Trunks, Vegeta, and Kakarot were all shocked to see, well, about Gohan and Piccolo's new power. Piccolo noticed something, however. Cell wasn't as shocked. It seems like somehow he knew about this hidden power. He was excited. As he looked at all of them, I have something hidden too, but I won't reveal it until the time's right, Cell said, as he began to laugh, showing off. As everyone else just rolled their eyes. However, as weeks passed, eventually Champa would visit Beerus' world. As Cell and Trunks were fighting, training, suddenly Champa would walk in and look around. So, this is your planet. It's quite different from the last time I've been here. Of course,
It was a million years ago. Quite a long time ago. I like what you've done with the place. Beerus would simply look at him and say,
tell me what you want. Well, Beerus, I want to show you the food of my universe. He would show off an egg. And as they all ate it, they weren't very much impressed. Then, he showed them the food of the 7th universe, and Champa was very impressed. He would start to yell. Since Beerus and Champa loved their food, the two things they liked most of all was food and fighting. As Beerus began to laugh, you see, Champa, we have all this great food because of Earth. Then Champa realized that Earth wasn't good, and in his universe, just like in canon, and they would agree to have a tournament.
Number 7's team would be Piccolo, Gohan, Vegeta, Trunks, Goku, and of course Cell, the canon of the group. He had the firepower. True, Piccolo and Gohan were probably stronger than him. However, he kept talking about how he had some secret move or form or something amazing up his sleeve. So much so, they decided to let him go first. As Cell walked up, it was Butamu. Butamu would walk up to Cell and say, "So, you're some sort of bio-android. Interesting. However, it doesn't matter how powerful you are. You cannot defeat my technique." Power? What? Does that include you being fat? Butamu would say, "Shut up." As Cell would fire a ki blast, suddenly it would simply just bounce off Butamu, like it did nothing. As Cell would then laugh, "It does have something to do with you being fat." Butamu would say, "I'll make you eat those words." As he started to march towards him and start to push him off the ring. But every time Cell hit him, it just reflected. Suddenly, Vegeta would say, "Use your head," as Cell said, "Oh." Cell simply grabbed his feet and started to drag him away. "Really? You being a fat? So, since you're so fat, you bounce off energy blasts? What an amusing power. However, I guess it doesn't really matter, since you're getting thrown off either way," as he threw Butamu off the ring. As he fell to the ground, he began to laugh. "Oh, what a fat idiot." Suddenly, Frost would get on the ring and say, "That is not nice to call someone that." "Huh, how ironic. So you're a good guy, Frieza. What is this Frieza?" Cell would say, "Never mind. He's someone I got a lot in common with. You see, there was someone like you in my universe, and they got their DNA to make me. That's what makes me so perfect, that I am the perfect being because of it." "Ha ha ha," Cell would say, laughing. Frost would look and say, "Well, whatever." Frost was a little annoyed by this cocky guy's attitude. However, he didn't let it bother him. As they both started to battle, Cell would say, "Go into your final form, please." Frost would say, "What? I know you're just holding back. Trust me. I need you to go into your final form and fight me. You see, I know all about each form because I have the DNA of one of your people. And I know what your final form looks like, so don't play any tricks with me." Frost would sigh as he'd transform straight into his final form, as Cell would transform to his super perfect form. As Cell would say, "There's not much of a difference with mine. However, you can feel my energy is different, can't you?" Frost would say, "Yes, I can. It's quite impressive. Now, let's go all out." Cell and Frost then began to battle each other. As Cell was holding back to have fun, but he was starting to show more and more of his power. And as he did, Frost was getting pushed further and further into a corner. He only had one option. He had to cheat. As Frost was fighting Cell, he couldn't really do much. After all, Cell was so much stronger, but Frost had an idea. as then he would punch Cell and stab him with a little needle. But the poison didn't work. When Dr. Gero made Cell, he made sure he was immune to poison, in case anyone tried to poison him. Frost was shocked, but, Cell would smirk and say, "Oh, you think that little trick would work? Next time, think twice before trying to defeat the perfect being," as then Cell would simply smack him, cause him to fly off the edge and Cell to win. The next match would be Kaba versus Cell.
As Cell would simply look up and say, "Who's next?" as Kaba would walk up. "I don't like your cocky attitude. I can see you're very powerful, but bullying Frost like that wasn't very nice." Kaba would say, ironically not knowing that Frost was trying to cheat, as Cell would smile and say, "You don't know the half of it. Alright, let's fight, but I should warn you, you should probably go Super Saiyan if you want to fight me. If you don't know how to go Super Saiyan God." Kaba would say, "Super Saiyan God? Super Saiyan? Sorry, I don't understand what those mean." Cell would say, "Oh, you don't? Interesting. Your base is pretty strong." Kaba would look up and say, "Base? What do you mean by base?" But suddenly Cell would simply punch Kaba and begin to hit him again and again and again. Cell didn't want to do this. After all, he may have started out as a villain. He would straight up drink people, but it's been a long time, and honestly, since he doesn't have that sensible hunger anymore, and since he's been hanging out with Trunks, Kakarot, or Goku, and Vegeta, it's just, well, honestly, he's become kind of a good person. Cell still had some bad in him, but he wasn't some murderer or some guy who just bullies other people. As Cell was fighting Kaba, he realized he had to help him reach his full potential, so he would pick him up and blast him with a ki blast and begin to choke him. "I'll love to kill your family." Kaba would look down and say, "What?" Cell would laugh. "I'll show them your corpse." "No, you know what would be better? If I show you your family's corpse."
"Yeah, watch all of your family dead. After I destroy your family, I'll obliterate your planet. Wipe it out." As Kaba would say, "No, I will not let you do that." As he started to yell, the ground started to shake as his hair turned yellow. He was a Super Saiyan. As Cell would say, "Perfect. Now hit me with everything you got." Kaba would start to punch Cell, and Cell would feel the pain for a bit, until he stopped holding back and punched Kaba off the ring. As he fell down, Cell would say, "You're welcome, kid. Dun-dun-dun. Alright, who's next?" Cell would say, getting ready to fight the next person. As suddenly, Vegeta would walk on stage. As Vegeta would get ready to fight, Cell would look at him. "Well, a giant robot. Isn't that fun? Well, let's get fighting." Cell and Vegeta would start to battle each other. And well, not much would happen. As Cell and Vegeta continued to fight, it was kind of easy for Cell. Cell was easily able to defeat Vegeta. However, suddenly something would happen. Vegeta would start to shoot up fireballs from his mouth. As Cell started to dodge all of them, Cell would look and say, "Wow, you really are a bucket of bolts." Vegeta would sit down and start to cry. "Chugga, chugga, chugga, chugga." Cell would say, "What's going on?" Chomp would say, "No, don't insult him. That's not fair. That's not fair, not fair, not fair." Beerus would say, "Nothing's in the rules against insulting." I guess he's just sensitive. Cell would then push him off the ring. As the next match would be Cell versus Hit. As Hit walked onto the stage, Cell would look at him and smirk. Well, well, well. So it's you, Hit. I've heard quite about you from Universe 6. Apparently you're some assassin, huh? Show me your power. Suddenly Hit would do a time skip. Yep, as he punched Cell, sending him flying off the edge. As he grabbed onto the edge, almost hitting it, then dragged himself back up. As then Cell would say, "I didn't want to do this. I wanted to use this as a form to fight Beerus." Beerus would say, "A form to fight me? Whis, do you know what he's talking about?" Whis would nod his head, "No." As suddenly, Cell would turn gold. Show. It's time to show everyone my true power. The power of my golden perfection. As everyone was impressed. Keep in mind that Super Perfect Cell could keep up with Blue. So Golden Cell, was quite stronger than Golden Frieza. Let's just say that. As Hit would say, "This is impressive. However, If you go all out,
As
I'll go all
Hit
out
did a
too.
time skip again and 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 again. Cell would simply look at him and say, "What are you doing?" As suddenly he would get frozen with time energy. Hit would say, "It took all my power, so I'm probably gonna lose to one of your other guys, but at least you didn't get me, cocky bastard." As then he would blast him off the ring. Everyone would be shocked. Cell did that perfect golden form and it failed. At least that's what they thought. As Hit would say, "Why didn't you call it, referee?" "Because Cell's not off the ring." He held onto the ring barely, not falling off, as then he crawled back up and hit with a Kamehameha, knocking him off the ring, causing him to be victorious. As Cell would look up and say, "Before I take the win, I have to say this. Thank you, Trunks. It's thanks to you I got this power, and it's thanks to you that I'm a good person. I respect you, Trunks. You're my best friend." Trunks would look down and say, "Thanks, you're my best friend too."
It's been quite a while since the Universe 6 and 7 tournament. Since Trunks decided to say in the future, the Goku Black Arc would happen. Because of this, the Tournament of Power would be right on the horizon, as Goku would still go to Zeno and begin to talk about the tournament. However, he had an idea this time of a very special someone to recruit. He asked Whis to take him to King Kai's planet. He asked why, and he said, "Trust me." We started to take him there. As he went there, it was Nappa. Nappa would look with a halo on his head. "Ah, Goku, my old buddy, what is it?" We need your help for a tournament. And we'll get you God Key." Nappa smirked and said, "All right, time to show you whippersnackers how we did it back in the day," Nappa would say, laughing. As Goku would take Nappa back to Earth, he would put him in the time chamber, and they would train for a few hours. This would be a few months, as he would teach them how to go Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue. Meanwhile, Trunks would be training with Gohan and Piccolo to try to get stronger, as they were all trying to get ready for the tournament. As Nappa got ready, he unlocked Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue. Also, Vegeta unlocked Super Saiyan Evolution. He was quite strong. Everyone was quite strong in this timeline. Trunks was super excited to check things out and to see how things play out. As Trunks looked around excited, he was ready for the tournament to finally begin. And begin it did. As he was brought to the Tournament of Power, their team was Nappa, Trunks, Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Gohan, and Cell. All were in the tournament, ready to fight, ready to prove themselves once and for all, ready to push themselves beyond anything they ever pushed. As the tournament began, things were really easy. However, Universe 6 had something up their sleeves. You see, Champa realized what Cell was, a bio-android, and he decided to make his own bio-android. He found one of those time chambers and put a machine in it, and gathered DNA from all his fighters, creating a Cell Max. But this Cell Max actually could talk and stuff. As the tournament began, they all started to fight each other, and everything seemed kind of normal, until eventually Trunks would realize that Jiren was quite strong. As Universe 11 seemed quite interested, Trunks decided he would get involved. So, Trunks would start to charge towards Jiren, seeing him as an interested opponent. But then Dispo would jump in his way. "What are you doing? I am a warrior of justice. No one can get to Jiren unless you're strong enough to fight through me." As Trunks and Dispo started to fight, Dispo actually started to come off pretty strong. However, Trunks started to get stronger and stronger as they fought. Dispo was quite fast, but Trunks was able to keep up with it. As then he started to turn into his blue form, smiling at himself. "You know, I think Jiren can push me more than I ever been pushed before, and that can make me quite strong. Aren't you intrigued, Jiren?" Jiren would get up and say, "If it'll stop your annoying badgering, then I'll fight you." As Jiren walks to Trunks, Trunks and Jiren began the battle. As that was going on, we cut to Frost. Frost was walking around. As Cell was fighting off some opponents, suddenly Frost and Cell Max would walk behind him. As Frost looked at Cell, Cell said, "You ready to get your butt whooped?" But then he saw Cell Max. "Who are you?" Cell Max said, "You inspired us to make our own bio-android. Think of me as you, but better, but stronger. The new and approved version 2.0. You're nothing but old news." Cell would look at him and turn gold. "Really? You really think I'm old news now?" But suddenly, Cell Max would spark up with electricity as he would do a time skip, hitting Cell, almost causing him to fly off the edge, as he would use his tail to pull him back on the arena at the last second.
as Cell Max looked at him and began to smirk. So, Cell, the man I was mired, the man I was built after. This is you? I'm surprised, honestly. I can't believe how pathetic you are. I thought you were some great and powerful martial artist, but you just rely on raw power. You don't have any real skill. Cell said, you just simply got me on guard. You're wrong about me. Cellmax said, I hope I am. As they started to fight, Cellmax had the advantage. As that was going on, we cut to Nappa and Piccolo. Nappa and Piccolo were being pursued by Universe 9. Universe 9 wanted to push them off the edge. Universe 9 wanted to defeat them. Universe 9 heard that Universe 6 and 7 were the strongest, so they wanted to wipe them out, push them off the edge, and try to weaken them as soon as possible. This was their plan. However, Nappa wasn't going to let this happen. Nappa's been training for months, unlocking new forms just to prove how good he was. Just to fight just like in the old days. But these days, he's not slaughtering planets. These days, he's fighting to protect this universe. The one he cares to love. It seemed like Universe 9 was going to be wiped out. It was all up to the Trio of Danger. The Trio of Danger all pressed on Nappa. Suddenly, Piccolo would jump in. Piccolo and Nappa versus 3. Piccolo would laugh and say it's a little unfair. The trio would laugh and say, oh, don't worry. You don't be too embarrassed when you get knocked off. No, it's unfair for you guys. I think it's time I show you a trick. As suddenly, Piccolo would turn giant and simply stomp on them, launching them off the edge. True turning big didn't increase his power. However, he decided to make his power increase as he was holding back, to trick everyone to think turning big makes him stronger, to try to intimidate his enemies. It was a good tactic and made people stay away. As in Piccolo and Nappa continued to walk forward, suddenly something would happen. As Gohan was walking, suddenly Kale and Cauliflower would look at him. So, you think you're strong enough to take on me? As suddenly they would fuse and become Kefla. As in we cut to Trunks. Jiren was about to knock him off the edge. As Trunks began to dodge more and more of his punches, Trunks unlocked Ultra Instinct Psy, and the battle started to heat up. Jiren was starting to enjoy their fight, and so was Trunks. Trunks was able to keep up, however, he was still not way stronger than Jiren. Jiren was still enjoying it, however, and was cocky. Even though Universe 7 had team members stronger than him, Trunks only went after him because he wanted to push himself and become stronger for his team. But suddenly, something would happen. As everyone was fighting, they would all suddenly stop, as a huge thud would be heard. The entire arena would shake, as a Majin Buu got up, but he looked like Goku. The Grand Priest would say, he'll be fighting for himself. He's from an alternate timeline someone created. Trunks looked. He didn't understand. How is this possible?
Suddenly, he would fly in, blocking Jiren and Trunks' attacks as he began to laugh. You see, I'm from a timeline where Zamasu would get up and look, as he was shocked. He was with the Supreme Kai since he was in training. Took Goku's body. His plan was to wipe out all mortals in the universe. However, I absorbed him, and our personalities merged into one. I am neither Majin Buu or Goku Black. I am Buu Black. Once I destroyed all mortals there, I got bored. My Majin personality started to take over more, and I started to regret what I've done. A universe truly empty. How could this be perfect? But the Grand Priest from that universe found me. Instead of destroying me, he had an idea. He let me go to this universe and compete in this tournament. Now I will show you my true power, and when I win, I wish for all mortals here to be erased too. Because there's still gods to have fun with. All the gods and everyone else were shocked. To have all mortals die, they can't let this happen. Except for Zamasu. Zamasu was impressed at what happened. True, he was kind of sad he got absorbed, but hey, whatever this thing is, it's not immortal, so he won't be wiped out because he has a god in him. As they all continued to fight, Majin Buu fought Jiren and Trunks and began to manhandle both of them, as he easily knocked Jiren off the edge, as he grabbed Trunks, about to throw him off, but suddenly Trunks unlocked full Ultra Instinct. As Majin Black started to get beat up, he got stronger and stronger and stronger. He had Goku Black's potential, as suddenly he turned rosé and began to swing his sword, pushing Trunks further back. He said, you see, I've trained in this body for months on end. And with this rosé form, thanks to your little ultra instinct, I think I can take you on. But I'll make sure I have insurance. Suddenly, as Majin Buu started to laugh, he started to spit out parts of his body all around the ring. Trunks says, "What the hell are you doing? You'll see." As suddenly, parts of Majin Buu started to grab people and drag him towards him, as he absorbed them all one by one. The entire teams of universes were all absorbed. As Majin Buu laughed, he grabbed Trunks, about to drop him off the edge, but then something happened. As Majin Buu started to fall back, Trunks would catch himself and pull himself back up. You see, since Majin Buu absorbed entire teams, they were eliminated. That means they were erased inside of him. Him himself wasn't erased, but this still caused great amount of pain as he started to scream in agony and pain. This caused Trunks to be able to kick Majin Buu right off the edge, and since he absorbed most of the teams, if not all of them, this caused Trunks to be the winner, as Universe 7 won. It was an anticlimactic victory, but it was still a victory. Trunks was shocked that someone was able to do this, that something from his timeline came back to haunt him. He was a little sad. He thought it was time to end this. It was time for him to go back to his timeline and stop time traveling once and for all. He enjoyed staying here, but he can't stay here any longer. He already screwed things up too much. As he looked out at the Grand Priest, he would wish that all the universes that were wiped out to be brought back.